gosh.
I should have tossed you out the instant you crawled into his lap. Strange this really tiny trinket saved me from marrying. Trash. It was absurd that something so insignificant could blow the lid off the life I thought I had, yet it did. I was 30 when the world I'd trusted crumbled around me. Mia was the same age. We'd been in each other's lives since we were 24. Our first meeting happened at a friend's birthday party. I spotted her across the room, mid-laugh, and felt an immediate pull. She gave off a light that seemed to brighten everything near her. That night closed with us on a balcony, talking for hours about our ambitions, favorite films, places we wanted to see, and what we imagined life becoming. After that, I was all in. I was hooked, convinced there was no turning back. We started dating soon after. Within a year we moved in together. From my view, everything was lining up perfectly. Mia was far more social than I was. I never saw it as an issue. I figured we complemented each other. I provided calm and consistency. She brought spontaneity and flair. Just last year I proposed, utterly convinced she was the one. She wept and accepted immediately. Then we dove into the usual wedding planning, checking venues, tasting cakes, and even arguing over whether an open bar was necessary. I genuinely believed we were building a life. I was blind. The house of cards started to crack over something seemingly small, a gift bag, just a little glittery one. I shouldn't have been home. My shift ended earlier than normal, and I wanted to surprise Mia with dinner. The door, though, it sat there, a shiny bag with a note attached. I felt a prickle of curiosity mixed with an uncomfortable inkling something wasn't right. To the wildest bride-to-be, every moment was unforgettable. Love. Tasha. First, I shrugged it off. Tasha had been Mia's closest friend since college. Loud, unhinged, and always a bit much for my taste, but fiercely devoted to Mia. Her loyalty made her tolerable. Mia joked they were the ultimate party pair. But that note felt off. It didn't sit well. I carried the bag inside and set it on the counter. I stared at it, puzzled by the unease. I circled it like someone sizing up a wound, unwilling but unable to look away. It was probably nothing. Why did my stomach twist? Eventually I gave in. I told myself it wasn't spying, just curiosity. It was out in the open. After all, inside were the usual bachelorette gag items: a plastic tiara, a glitter sash that read bride's last ride, and confetti enough to carpet the floor. But buried at the bottom was something that made my guts drop. Pair of men's underwear. Used, not new. The sight tightened my throat, every nerve in my body bristled as if a hidden alarm had sounded. I tried to tell myself it was a prank, a tasteless joke. Then I spotted a flash drive under the glitter. I can't explain why I checked it. Maybe the underwear was already too much. The whole bundle felt wrong. I plugged the drive into my laptop. There was only a single file. Against every sane instinct I opened it. Began. Harmlessly, Mia and her friends packed into a booth at a club, laughing and raising glasses. The camera swept to Mia, wearing her tiara and sash, stunning as always, but something wild flickered in her eyes, like she was escaping rather than celebrating, searching for something else entirely. Next she was on stage, at a nightclub, grinding with a shirtless performer as her friends hooped. Kept my cool. It's a bachelorette, I told myself. Things get messy. Then she took the performer's hand and led him off the stage toward a private back room. Paused the clip. My heart raced. My palms. Sweat. A cold clarity edged through the fog of denial that had kept me comfortable. I wanted stage gag or an overblown joke. Maybe nothing happened. Maybe it was all for show. But deep down, I already suspected the truth. The following footage confirmed it. There was no mistaking what I saw. Mia sat in a VIP booth, drinking and flirting with 3 different men. First it seemed harmless. Then one kissed her. She didn't stop him. She kissed him back. Another joined in. By the clips. And she was guiding all 3 toward a hotel room. Then Tasha's voice cut in, loud and thrilled, narrating like she was documenting highlights, proud and brash, as if she'd earned a medal. Mia, you're a freaking legend. Bride of the year. I sat motionless, stunned. My chest felt empty, like someone had scooped out the center of me and left an echoing hole. I couldn't breathe right. Every breath was shallow and sharp. Who was this woman? She wasn't the one I'd held as she fell asleep to silly movies. She wasn't the woman who teared up talking about having kids. This wasn't my Mia. Later that night Mia came home as if nothing had occurred. She kissed my cheek, asked how my day went, and gushed about Tasha's wedding ideas. I smiled, nodded, played along, but I was already gone inside. All I could see was that footage. I kept wondering how I'd missed signs. Had I been blind? Was this the first time? I didn't know, and I didn't care. The person I planned to marry was gone. I couldn't sleep. Lying awake, I stared at the ceiling and replayed the video on a loop. The laughter, the kisses, the contact, each frame cut deeper. I wanted to scream and demand an answer, but it wouldn't fix anything. The next morning Mia left for work early. She kissed my forehead and said, "Can't wait to see you tonight, babe." I smiled and replied, "Yeah, me too." The instant she walked out, I moved. No coffee, no pause, no second guessing. I yanked my old duffel from the closet and began tossing things in: clothes, toiletries, my laptop, chargers, anything that packed fast and neat. My hands moved on their own, almost frantic, driven by a single purpose: distance. I wasn't planning to return, so I spared no thought for the couch, the blender, or the TV. She could keep every item we bought together. Let her have the apartment. I just needed to get away. While stuffing essentials, it hit me. I'd never acted this impulsively. I'm the planner. Vacations scheduled to the minute, projects mapped at work even. My grocery runs organized. Yet here I was, shoving random things into a bag without a destination. I only knew I had to go. I grabbed my phone and searched for a place. I didn't want a chain hotel. That would feel sterile and too real. I needed quiet, space to breathe and think. I found a tiny lakeside lodge about 2 hours away. Not fancy, but peaceful, and they had rooms. That would do. I booked a week, paid up front, and didn't flinch at the price. The cost barely registered. What I paid for silence and space felt like a bargain. Peace was worth it. Before I left, I snatched the folder from my desk with our wedding paperwork. No way was I covering a ceremony that wasn't happening. The venue call was first. While walking out the door, I phoned them. "Hi, this is Ryan," I said, trying to sound casual. "I need to cancel a wedding reservation." A pause. Then her overly sympathetic voice. People's tone when they deliver bad news. "Oh no. Sorry to hear that. May I ask why?" I wasn't about to spill everything on a phone, so I offered a soft, practiced lie. "Plans changed. That's life, right? Eh. Recited policy details. 20% cancellation. Fees and such. Fine, I cut in. Just cancel it. I felt a small, vindicated relief. As she confirmed the date was off, like a final stitch in severing what we'd been planning. After the call I drove away, without looking back at the apartment. The trip felt unreal, like autopilot. My hand steered, but my mind was stuck on the flash drive, replaying every moment. Was this a one-off disaster? Or had she been this person all along and I'd missed it? Halfway to the cabin I stopped for gas and snacks. While paying, my phone buzzed. Of course it was her. I let it ring. One call, then two, then an avalanche. Texts flooded in. She must have come home and noticed the empty closet. The messages piled up into a messy portrait of panic and bewilderment. I couldn't bring myself to read anything. I already knew the script. Denials, tears, excuses, the classic. It's not what it looks like. I silenced my phone and kept driving. My fingers shook on the wheel as the city dissolved behind me. When I arrived, the lodge was small but exactly right. King bed, a snug fireplace, a tiny kitchen, and a private deck facing the lake. It felt otherworldly, calm, wrapped in the soft scent of pine and the quiet hum of water, untouched by the mess I'd fled. Dumped my bags, sat on the bed's edge, and finally let out a breath I hadn't known I held. Ran my hands through my hair and felt the weight of years lift a fraction. That was when it hit. I'd walked away from my fiancée, my home, and the life I thought we'd build together. The rest of the day I unpacked slowly, yet each item felt unfamiliar. I kept waiting to hear Mia shout or ask if I wanted something to eat. Even the house's creaks made me jump, expecting her. Eventually I made a sandwich from my gas station haul and checked my phone. Over 20 missed calls. The text started calm. Hey babe, where'd you go? You didn't say anything. Everything okay? Then spiraled. Ryan, where are you? Why is your stuff gone? Are you all right? What's happening? And finally pleading. Please just talk to me. I don't understand. Please. I didn't reply. Called my parents instead. They're not nosy and I love them for that. When I told them I'd left Mia and canceled the wedding, my mom simply said, all right, honey, want to tell us what happened? I gave them a light version. She wasn't who I thought. My dad didn't miss a beat. You did the right thing, son. Better now than after you say I do. His voice was steady, the kind that stitched confidence back into me. They didn't press for details. I was grateful. I told them I'd stay out of town a while and they promised support. Their voices were steady and reassuring, the kind that made the chaos seem manageable for the first time in hours. That night felt unreal. I kept imagining her showing up, pounding on the door, demanding answers, begging me back. Every imagined scene felt both hopeful and terrifying, like a bad dream I couldn't wake from. I replayed every sacrifice I'd made, saving for the wedding, shifting habits, tolerating her closeness with Tasha. For what? For her to betray me in one vile night. When I finally crawled into bed, I was certain of one thing. I wasn't going back. Not for apologies. Not for crocodile tears. Not even for closure. That chapter was closed. I needed space to stitch myself back together without an audience. But one thought nagged me. Tasha wasn't merely a spectator in the footage. She was the orchestrator. That tape wasn't a random party clip. It was intentional, a keepsake she seemed proud to own. And the note on the bag, "You deserved every second of it," wasn't just a line. It was a smug little confession. From the start, Tasha and I never gelled. When Mia and I paired up, Tasha was one of the first people I met. She was loud, told edgy jokes, and clearly lived for attention. Mia idolized her, believing she injected life and danger into any scene. To me, she felt like a drain, stealing breath with her constant chaos. Over time I learned to tolerate her because she was entwined in Mia's circle. Still, I never trusted her fully. Looking back, there were red flags. Tasha pushed Mia to go out, even when we had plans. Nights came when Mia would stumble in at 2 a.m., drunk with Tasha cackling nearby, shouting things like, "Oops, borrowed your girlfriend again, Ryan." I used to laugh it off. Now it makes me sick. At the cabin, I wasn't ready to face Mia. Not yet. But I wanted Tasha in person. I wanted to look her in the eyes and hear what she'd say. But I wasn't ready for a raw confrontation in public, so instead of messaging directly, I got a burner app and texted anonymously. "Hey, it's Ryan. We need to talk about Mia. Tomorrow, noon, coffee shop on 7th. She replied in under 5 minutes. What, are you okay? Is Mia okay? What's going on? I didn't respond. The next day, I drove into the city, parked a block away from the cafe, and waited. Sure enough, she arrived right on schedule. All of her usual dramatics: hot pink blazer, ridiculous heels, sunglasses, indoors like she was dodging the paparazzi. Totally Tasha. I walked in a few minutes later and sat down across from her. My stomach buzzed with anger and nerves. She looked briefly surprised, then gave that trademark smirk. "Wow, Ryan, you scared the crap out of me with that message. What's this about?" I skipped small talk. There was no room for niceties. I wanted the truth fast. Let's cut the act. I know what happened at the bachelorette party. Her face hardened. "What are you talking about?" I leaned forward, voice calm. "The flash drive, the video, the trash you left at our door. I saw it all." He blinked and forced a weak laugh. "Oh, come on, Ryan. It was just party stuff. You aren't seriously upset over that, are you?" "Upset?" I said, settling back. "Try furious. What kind of friend enables cheating and then packages it like a trophy?" Her color drained. "It wasn't like that," she said fast. "It was a wild night, that's all. No one got hurt." I pulled a saved screenshot and slid it across the table with clinical purpose. "Mia, bride of the year. You owned that stage. Girl, don't feel guilty. It's your last chance to be free." The lines were cruelly calculated to humiliate, and I wanted her to see the proof. Her face went white. She tried to shove the phone back. "Ryan, you're blowing this out of proportion. It's a tradition. Everyone has their last hurrah." "Tradition?" I snapped. "You call that helping someone ruin their relationship?" She exhaled, folded her arms, leaned back. "I didn't make her do anything. She's an adult. She made her own choice. And you were there egging her on. I said you were supposed to be her support, not the one who helped blow everything up." She rolled her eyes. "Look, she loves you. It was a one-time thing. You two can move past it." That broke me. I slammed my hand on the table, drawing looks. "Move past it? You expect me to forget she hooked up with 3 strangers because it allegedly happened once? Are you hearing yourself?" She shrank and scanned the room, uneasy. Okay, she whispered. "Sorry if it got out of hand. I didn't mean it to, but, Ryan, this isn't my mess. It's between you and Mia." I stood, pocketed my phone. "You're already mixed up in it, Tasha. And trust me, people are going to see exactly who you are. Her eyes widened. What are you saying? You'll see soon enough. I left, without another word, my mind racing with what I would do next. On the drive back to the cabin, her lines replayed. She's an adult. She made her choices. As much as I wanted to pin it all on Tasha, that stuck. Tasha hadn't forced a thing. Mia chose, knowing what it meant. That realization hit hard. I had always pictured Mia as spontaneous and free-spirited. Now I saw only reckless disregard. If Tasha struck the match, Mia was the one who set the house ablaze. Back at the cabin, I opened my laptop. I wasn't ready to face Mia, but I refused to let Tasha control the narrative. I compiled the screenshots and video files meticulously and sent them to a handful of mutual friends, people I trusted. Wouldn't spread it recklessly but would be ready if I needed them to back me up. Each message I sent felt like setting off a line of dominoes I couldn't uncross. Once those friends saw the evidence, there was no going back to the old quiet life. Tasha never reached out after our meeting. Not surprised. She probably thought it was unsalvageable. I didn't care. She ceased to be my problem. I knew the next step. Tell Mia's parents exactly what unfolded. It wasn't an easy choice. Exposing someone else's daughter felt heavy, but I wanted the truth out before lies could take root. Mia's family always gave off a prim, proper vibe. I never felt fully welcome. From day one, I sensed a cool reserve. When we moved in 3 years ago, her mom, Janet, behaved as if we'd committed some social sin. Never said it outright, but her disapproving looks and snide remarks like, "You know, it's not proper to live together before marriage," said it all. Just mentioning our apartment made her wrinkle her nose. Her dad Henry was quieter but just as judgmental. He gave a small, tight nod that always reminded me our relationship lived under a microscope, as if every choice we made was being quietly judged, and it wore on me every single day. Any time the subject came up, he'd grunt and mutter, different times back in my day. It wasn't until Mia and I became engaged that her parents started treating me like I actually belonged. Once the ring sat on her finger, everything tilted. Janet suddenly wanted to throw bridal showers, and Henry began talking about chipping in for a down payment on our first house. It felt like I'd passed some invisible approval process and was finally acceptable to them. But after what she did, staying silent wasn't an option anymore. She betrayed me, and now she had to face the consequences, especially with parents who always acted like she was above reproach. They supported her at every turn, emotionally, financially, socially, and seemed certain she could do no wrong. Meanwhile, the texts from Mia kept pouring in after I confronted Tasha. "Ryan, please just answer me. I know you're hurt, but we can work through this. I love you. Please don't shut me out." Every single line made my blood boil. She wasn't the victim here. She chose this. I didn't reply once, and I planned to keep it that way. Then a message arrived from Janet. "Ryan, what is happening? Mia's inconsolable. Please call us. We're really concerned." I stared at it for a long moment before deciding this had to be handled in person. If anyone was going to look after Mia now, it wasn't going to be me. Let her parents deal with it. They'd always assumed they knew best anyway. The next day, I drove back into the city and went straight to their house. I didn't tell Mia I was coming, even though I knew she'd flip when she found out. Janet opened the door, her smile tight with nerves, relief mixed with confusion. "Oh, Ryan, thank goodness. What's going on?" "Mia's been a mess since yesterday. She's terrified." Henry was planted in his usual chair in the living room, half reading the paper. He glanced up and gave a small nod when he saw me. "Ryan," he said, "glad you stopped by. Maybe you can clear this up for us." I stepped in and sat on their immaculate white couch. "I came here to explain things," I said, my tone even. "And you're going to want to sit down." Janet frowned but took a seat across from me, her hands twisting nervously. Henry leaned forward, brow furrowed, waiting. I pulled out my phone and opened the folder with all the proof. Mia hasn't been honest with you, I said. Or with me. The wedding's off, and it's because of what she did at her bachelorette party. Janet's eyes widened. What? What could she possibly have done? I handed her my phone. See for yourself. She hesitated, looked at me, then hit play. Her expression shifted from puzzlement to disbelief to devastation. Oh my God, she whispered. This can't be. Please tell me this isn't what it looks like. Henry rose, his face going dark with anger. What is it? Let me see. Janet passed him the phone with trembling hands, tears running down her cheeks. Henry watched in silence, his jaw tightening. His knuckles went white around the phone like he was restraining himself from smashing it. This is what she did, I said, my voice steady. She didn't just cheat. She put on a spectacle. And her friends egged her on the whole time. Janet buried her face in her hands and sobbed. I don't understand. I don't know who she is anymore. Henry paced, fists clenched. That girl, he growled. What was she thinking? We didn't raise her to be like this. She wasn't thinking, I replied. And now she expects me to forgive her. That's not happening. You both deserve the truth because I'm not covering for her. Janet looked up through tear-filled eyes. Ryan, can't you talk to her? Maybe it was a mistake. Maybe someone pressured her into it. She wasn't pressured, I said, cutting in. She made that choice herself. And I'm not going to spend my life wondering when she'll do it again. Henry stopped pacing and faced Janet. This is what happens when she listens to Tasha instead of her family. I warned you about that girl. I told you. Janet nodded, slowly dabbing her face with a tissue. We should have said something. Maybe we should have stopped her from living with you. None of this might have happened. I let out a dry, bitter laugh. You think the problem was us living together? You've always been obsessed with appearances, but you never actually saw what was happening. Mia's reckless. She's always been reckless. You just chose not to see it. Henry sank back into his chair, shaking his head in disbelief. Unreal. Absolutely unreal. I stood. I'm sorry to drop this on you, but I'm done. Mia is your responsibility now. I'm sure she'll show up here soon crying and looking for help. That's your call. I've already made mine. Janet reached for my arm as I headed for the door. Please, Ryan, don't spread this around. It would humiliate the whole family. Please keep it between us. I gently pulled my arm free. That's not my job anymore, Janet. How people hear about this is up to you now. As I drove back to the lodge, a strange feeling came over me, closure. After years of feeling like I was never quite good enough for Mia's family, the truth was finally out. Their perfect daughter wasn't perfect after all. She wrecked it herself. Later that evening I got another voicemail. This one from Janet. Ryan, it's Janet. I don't even know how to begin. Henry and I are heartbroken. We confronted Mia. She's fallen apart. She keeps saying she doesn't know how to fix this. But truthfully, we don't either. I just want you to know we're so sorry. If you ever feel like talking, we're here. I deleted the message. Let her face her parents now. Let her explain everything to them. Let them handle the fallout. I was done being her emotional safety net. And the fallout came quick. Once I told her parents, I knew it wouldn't stop there. I wasn't trying to be cruel. Well, maybe a little, but people needed to see who Mia really was. If I stayed quiet, they'd cover it up and pretend nothing happened. That wasn't going to happen. Not this time. The first person I reached out to after everything blew up wasn't Mia. It was Rachel, one of her longtime friends. Unlike Tasha, Rachel hadn't led the chaos, but she was there that night. She laughed, backed Mia's antics, and probably chalked it all up to harmless fun. I wasn't about to give her a free pass. I sent a short direct message. Rachel, I'm aware of everything that went down at the bachelorette party. I have proof. Videos, texts, all of it. Don't pretend you don't know. We need to talk. She called almost immediately, her voice shaky like she'd been blindsided. Ryan, what is this? How do you even have that stuff? I kept my tone cool and flat. Does it really matter how I got it? You were there. You saw it happen. She hesitated, then blurted out, I didn't think it got that far. I thought it was just a little flirting and some dancing. I didn't know it turned into that. I cut her off. You didn't know? You seriously didn't notice when she disappeared into a room with 3 strangers? You expect me to believe you missed that? There was silence on the line. I thought she'd hung up, but she sighed heavily. I'm sorry, Ryan. I really am. I probably should have said something sooner, but it's not like I could control her. She kept saying marrying you felt suffocating, and she just wanted one last wild night. Tasha was all over it, hyping her up. Mia was drunk and just followed the chaos. I nearly laughed out loud. Followed the chaos. That's what we're calling it now. No, Rachel. She didn't stumble into this. She made conscious choices. And you just stood back and let it happen. She scrambled to defend herself. It wasn't my place. It absolutely was, I snapped. You're supposed to be her friend. A real friend doesn't stand by while someone burns their life down. By the time the call ended, she'd apologized again and promised to talk to Mia. I wasn't expecting much. Next up was the architect of the disaster, Tasha. But I didn't need to do anything more. After my talk with Mia's parents, the fallout had already started. Janet and Henry must have confronted her hard because Mia began calling me non-stop the next morning. Over 20 missed calls in a few hours. I didn't pick up once. Then Tasha messaged me, her tone furious. Ryan, what lies are you spreading? Mia is falling apart and now people are treating me like the villain. You need to quit this right now. I smirked reading it. Finally, Tasha was feeling some consequences. I didn't respond. Let her sit in it. But what really changed everything was Rachel flipping on them both. She clearly realized that staying loyal to Mia and Tasha meant going down with the ship, so she pulled away fast, telling people she never fully understood what happened and that she would have stopped it if she had. She made sure everyone knew she wasn't backing either of them anymore. By the end of the week, the story had spread through their whole social circle. Mia, once the fun bride, had become a walking scandal. One mutual acquaintance, Chloe, messaged me directly. We weren't close, but she'd always been polite in group settings. Hey, Ryan. I just wanted to say I'm really sorry for everything. I had no idea Mia was capable of something like that. If you need anything, I'm here. Meanwhile, Mia kept trying to reach me. The torrent of texts slowed but didn't stop. Ryan, please. I know I messed up, but I'm begging you. Just tell me how to fix this. I'll do anything. It was pathetic. She wasn't sorry because she felt remorse. She was sorry because everything was collapsing around her. Then the inevitable blow-up between her and Tasha happened. It started with passive-aggressive texts and ended in a screaming match. Tasha, fed up with being blamed, finally exploded. You were into it the whole time. Don't act like I made you do anything. Stop playing the victim. Chloe texted me a day later. Mia and Tasha aren't even speaking now. Tasha's telling everyone that Mia is throwing her under the bus. It's a disaster. I'll admit it, I felt a grim satisfaction. Tasha had spent years manipulating people and acting untouchable. Watching her empire fall apart was poetic justice. The last update I got from Janet confirmed how far Mia had tumbled. At first I assumed she was just spiraling emotionally, crying, begging, acting like her world was ending. But slowly I heard from mutual contacts about how bad things really were. Apparently after my conversation with her parents, things took a sharp turn. Janet had tried reasoning with Mia, tried to make her take responsibility, but Mia, in classic fashion, played the victim. She said I overreacted, accused me of ruining her life over one mistake, and insisted I should have been more forgiving. That didn't fly with Janet or Henry. For them, reputation meant everything, and now that reputation was shredded. Once they realized Mia wasn't owning up to anything, they cut her off completely. No warnings, no empty threats. They packed her things, left everything on the porch, and told her not to come back until she admitted fault. I'm willing to bet Janet said something like, "You've humiliated this family." It would have been very on brand. Mia tried reaching out to Tasha for a place to stay, but after their blow-up Tasha had no interest in cleaning up the mess. Chloe told me Mia had contacted other friends, but none wanted to get involved. Rachel ghosted her entirely and the rest were too scared to pick a side.
In the end, Mia was left bouncing between couches. Whoever would let her crash for a night or two.
But it wasn't only her social life that fell apart. Her financial safety net disappeared too. She'd been in a cushy office job her father had pulled strings to get her, and she barely worked for it. After everything blew up, Henry made it clear, no more favors. He wasn't protecting her anymore. Word around the city was that Mia's boss had grown impatient with her performance. She'd been flagged for lateness and slacking off. Once rumors about her personal mess started circulating, thanks to mutual friends who knew the full story, it didn't take long for the company to decide she wasn't worth the distraction. Officially they'd call it downsizing, but everyone knew better. I won't lie, when Chloe told me Mia had been fired, I felt a quiet sense of closure. Not because I wanted her to suffer, but because reality had finally caught up with her. She'd spent adulthood skating by while others cleaned up behind her. Now there was no one left to sweep the wreckage away. Eventually word spread that she tried to go back to her parents. She showed up crying at their front door after losing her job, begging for a place to stay, but Janet and Henry didn't budge. By then she had nothing left. No job, no home, no one in her corner. The messages she kept sending me grew more desperate by the day. Ryan, please. I have no one. I'm sorry for everything. I lost everything. My job, my apartment, gone. I know I messed up. Please just give me a chance to make things right. Tell me what you want. I'll do anything. I never replied. She wasn't going to manipulate her way back into my life by playing the victim. She made her bed. Now she was sleeping in it alone. About a week later, Eric, a mutual friend, updated me. Mia had reached out to him too, trying to crash at his place for a while. True to form, Eric didn't mince words. Dude, she's a wreck, he told me. She was sobbing, saying she didn't know where to go. But he told her flat out, this isn't my mess to clean. He wasn't being cruel. He was done with her manipulation, the same as I was. Eventually Chloe let me know that Mia had scraped together enough to rent a tiny room in a run-down apartment on the far side of town. She blew the last of her money on the deposit, and beyond that she was barely scraping by. She got a part-time job at a local coffee shop, but it barely covered basic bills. She's barely hanging on, Chloe admitted. I don't think she's ever hit this kind of low before. What shocked me wasn't just how hard she fell, it was how quickly everyone walked away. For years Mia had run the friend group, planning get-togethers, making herself the center of attention, always surrounded. But now, no one wanted anything to do with her. Tasha washed her hands of it. She's not my problem anymore. Rachel blocked her completely, saying she couldn't handle the stress. Even Chloe, who tried to stay neutral, eventually stopped answering. She'd torched every relationship she had and was left sifting through the ashes, trying to salvage a life. I'd be lying if I said I didn't feel a sense of justice watching it all unfold. Not because I wanted to see her fall, but because for once she couldn't run from the consequences. She'd built her world on other people carrying her. This time nobody was there to hold it up. Meanwhile, I was piecing my life back together. Each day felt like another step away from the wreckage she left behind. Mia was out there trying to restart from zero, and honestly, that's exactly where she needed to be.